PT tests could be scary. But why don't you train with us? We're going to start here on this panel of people that are talking about the new standards, ways that you can make your life a little bit easier. I learned a little bit just having this conversation here, so I think you could benefit from it too. I don't think this new set of PT standards has to be as scary as we're all making it out to be on social media. So let's break it down here. Let's take it slow. Let's relax. So I think this is probably one of the more topical podcast episodes that we're gonna do, and we've got completely fresh faces here on the My Not podcast. Let's go ahead. We'll start at the other end of the table. Introduce yourself, where you work.
I'm Sergeant Reifenberry. I work at the 5MXG now. I've been at Mina for about 12 years.
Right on. Thank you for being here. In all senses of that sentence.
I am Senior Airman Cueto. I am with the 5th Security Forces Squadron. I've been here in Minot for a little under 3 years now.
Right on. Thank you.
And I'm Master Dozier, 5th Bomb Wing. I currently work in the protocol office as the deputy chief, but by trade, security forces as well.
Okay, so really, this is the big one because people have been talking about PT tests, these changes that have occurred or had, taken months to occur, and there's a lot of unrest if you look at social media, the way people are talking about it. They're like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
People saying it's fine, don't worry about it, just do your job. How did everybody feel about these changes when they were first announced?
I was excited. I love PT. I live by fitness. When I joined the military, I knew that fitness was going to be a thing. So it's surprising to me that it's dwindled down to what it was. So seeing that spike up doesn't scare me because when you look at the other branches, they've been doing it. They take 2 PT tests a year.
Yeah.
So it's not foreign. It's just new to us. And I feel like as long as you're maintaining your standards, it's nothing to be scared of. Not to pass it, at least. Everybody has their own standard of excellence. So, yeah, get out
Right.
there and give it a job.
Passing can be excellent in somebody else's book, and I think that's okay too.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. At first, I was a little bummed. I was like, dang, an extra half a mile. Oh, shoot. But, the more you think about it, yeah, like the other branches, they do 2 miles. They run or do their PT test every 6 months. So I feel like we should be able to do that, and just it's extra half a mile. I feel like it'll be okay. It'll be fine.
I've seen that form of comment as responding to people's fears of it's an extra half a mile.
It's really a mind game.
It's really just getting out of your
Yeah,
head.
it's really a mind game, truly. Yep.
Texaron, what do you think?
So I was wildly indifferent. I could care less, right? Because it bears nothing to me as far as the change.
Yeah.
We've seen a few Air Force changes either way on it. And the Air Force PT test is still woefully wrong, if that makes sense. So the change wasn't either severe enough or it was a placation back to where we already were. So we've now it's been circular. You know what I mean? We have now arrived back where we were 5 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, minus there's still the different options, and I figure we can talk about the different ways that a person can show off their physical capabilities. Because there's the hammer run, there's the hand release push-ups, there's the planks, the reverse crunch, all different options that whenever I came in, those were not even mentioned. So
yeah, but if you depend on when you came in, you had a bike ride too, so or a walk.
yeah.
Hold on now.
Okay, the walk. I mean, people can still do the walk technically, right?
Just fast.
Really fast and giving yourself shin splints.
I think to choose the walk, you have to be on a certain type of exemption.
And I heard the walk is pretty more difficult than actually doing it.
Wouldn't it be longer?
I've seen people feel that.
What?
Yeah.
It is a very fast walk, and you cannot jog, air quote, run, because then you
have to stay on contact, right?
Correct.
Yeah, 1 foot is always in
contact.
contact.
It does have some criteria to it, and if the reason why you might be confused is because it's not done very often, is because again, you most of the time have to have an exemption for you to do it in the first place.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like all gas, no brakes. You're going
Yep.
the entire time pushing yourself as hard as possible.
I wouldn't recommend it.
No, it's not a good path. So, I mean, people have anxiety over testing sometimes.
As they should.
So yeah, I mean, it's still you're trying to prove yourself in this scenario. I get test anxiety about taking a PT test,
Same.
and earlier in the week I'll have run like a 5K and I ran just fine,
Yeah, but
and every individual mile was okay. And then it gets to the mile and a half, and I'm like, my heart's beating. I'm like, oh great, this is going to be so much energy I'm
your
wasting
career doesn't.
for.
Your career is not predicated on the passing of a 5K.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like there's some reason to be apprehensive about every test that your career can be affected by.
Yeah.
So
And sometimes you just can't avoid being nervous. Like it's a natural response that your body and your mind's going to give you. I think it makes you more aware, and it's just your body telling yourself like, okay, prepare for the task ahead, you know? So it's natural, it's normal, and it's okay to be nervous.
It's,
So,
it's different realms of being nervous too, right?
Mhm.
It's nervous because I haven't prepared,
right.
but it's also nervous because it's a test, like you said, that could
Mhm.
affect my career. I
Right.
get nervous, but it's no doubt in mind that I could pass this test.
yeah.
I have my own standard though. It's like I might be upset with myself if I get below a certain percentage, but I know I can pass the test, but I still get nervous. And I think that's something that we communicate with other people because if I see a new airman on the line and I see them hyperventilating about the test, if they know that I'm nervous as well, and we kind of go through those moments together, I think they kind of ease theirs,
Right.
not feeling like they're the only person on the
Right.
line that's
Yeah.
like,
And I think
yeah.
everyone has some sort of slight, anxiety. I mean, I have no problem passing the test, but I still get so anxious and nervous, like, but not because like of, my scores. I'm not worried about that. It's like I like to challenge myself
Yeah.
and set a goal for myself, and I'm like nervous about not reaching that goal, and that's me. So, but everyone has their own reason.
I usually get pretty nervous. It's only been the last few years where I've felt more confident and everything's going to be okay, that I've developed the skills to calm down. I like to usually schedule a PT test first thing in the morning and just get it out of the way for the rest of the day.
Right.
But I remember the first time I scheduled it, for some reason, everything went wrong and like nothing was on time. And the person who's supposed to certify the test didn't show up on time. And I just remember sitting in the bleachers, like waiting and waiting. And then my body just relaxed. And sometimes getting that extra early time to just sit there and let your body just decompress naturally
Yeah.
is how you're going to be able to tell yourself, okay, I can do this PT test. Everything's going to be fine. Because if you're tense, like, oh, I've got to be here at this time, like you need to clear as much from your schedule as possible and make sure that you're there and that you can be present in the moment so that it doesn't affect you.
Absolutely. Totally agree.
What are some other things that all of you have done or seen other people do in order to like prepare themselves, whether it was mentally or physically?
What I like to do is I like to envision myself doing the test or whatever it is, whatever the case may be, whatever task is ahead of me, I like to envision myself doing that task and succeeding at it. So once I know that there's a home stretch and I'm doing it, I'm almost done, like, okay, like I'll be okay, right? And then also just having the mindset of this pain that I'm going to be enduring is temporary, right? Like not even an hour.
It's so short.
It's so
It's
it
like
goes
30
it
minutes and
goes
you're
by
like,
like that.
okay,
Like
Exactly.
just do it,
Oh, right.
pump out the push-ups, do the sit-ups, whatever it may be. Do the run, and you're done. That's it. It'll be over with.
I say first thing first, preparation.
Yeah.
I know when my PT test is coming up. So how about me starting to prepare for it if I'm scared about it? Not acknowledging it the week before. Um, I'll set a perfect example. So now we have the bubble at my not effort space. Um, if you've never ran inside that bubble, trying to breathe in there is pretty hard.
It's
Yeah.
So,
so
Yep.
difficult.
but knowing that and me going in there weeks early to acclimate myself to it helps me, prepare for that PT test, right? Because if I go in there no matter if I'm the best runner, I'm probably gonna pass out at the end. So just taking that time to prepare, like you're scared about it, do something about it before it becomes time for it. So
Right.
Yeah, and that seems like the most logical thing to
Mhm.
do, right? But sometimes airmen get caught up in work. I know that there's going to be challenges getting into the gym for some people
Oh yeah.
because there's I think there's a knowledge gap for some people. And then there's also just the difficulty of getting into the gym and sharing that space with all of the other people. Gym intimidation.
no, that's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
And
sure.
even I still get a little intimidated. I've been into fitness pretty much all my life, and I still get a little intimidated when there's tons of people around me.
Yeah, tons of
Yeah,
people. And
tons of
sometimes
people.
I'm like, do I know how to use this
I get
correctly?
thrown off sometimes. Yeah.
We
Do
live
I know
different
do I know how
lives.
to do a deadlift the proper way? And yeah, it can just feel like a lot, especially for people who don't know.
And if you compare yourself to other people, that will kill pretty much everything you're working towards. You cannot compare yourself. I promise you, when you're in the gym, nobody else is looking at you.
Yeah.
No, everyone
Not
is
if they're
too
working.
worried about themselves.
That's-
Nobody is watching you. But even I, till this day, sometimes will have that thought in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, am I doing this
Yeah.
right? This person's doing that differently than what I normally do. But then, I just step back and I'm like, I'm here for me, right? Like,
Right.
I got a job to do. So I'm just going to do what I know.
Yeah, that's a really good attitude about it.
Yep.
I think that's the most important lesson people learn if they're in the gym and they're feeling intimidated. No one else is even paying attention.
No, they're too focused on themselves
Mhm.
for the most part.
Yeah, and I think that's okay too.
Yeah.
So some like this is probably during your Air Force career, this is the first time that you've experienced PT test changes
Right.
this significant. But for the rest of us, there's been a few other. We don't have to give ages away,
No, of course not.
Relax.
Whatever.
but I remember the sense of relief I had when they started to do these breaking up more of the age brackets, because I remember taking the test and being like, wow, I feel like having to do the same thing as an 18, 19-year-old is still pretty hard for me. And I'm getting in, mid 20s, later 20s. I'm like, this is difficult. I'm glad that they broke it up this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the components. I still challenge myself to keep up with the youngsters, right?
Sure.
That's just me being a natural competitor. Security forces, I like to be that senior NCO that's like, yeah, you're not gonna beat me today. But to bring the best out of them as well.
Right.
But I also like to see that, hey, I got 10 less push-ups to do. So
Yeah, that does feel good. I don't know if anyone remembers like Sarge, who was like still smoking on the side of he was like smoking a cigarette over on the side of the track, and then he flicked it away into a trash can and said, "All right, let's run this 1.5 miles," and then would smoke everybody else.
And so I still have those people in my career
yeah,
field.
same. Yep.
How do they exist? It's insane.
They're built
Those people
different.
are built for business.
They're built
Yeah,
different.
they smoke the cigarettes
They're
to
here for
lower their capacity. That's
Man.
That's upsetting. Well, those people are freaks, but for the rest of us who have to train and build up to being capable, how do you train yourself, and then how do you recommend less familiar airmen who are like less familiar with exercise so that they can show up and not get hurt?
Do y'all mind if I take that?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Perfect. All right. So, as a premise, if we're going with less like knowledgeable, you know everything you're going to get tested on. The Air Force is going to show you everything and every way to do it from day one. So, like, you're only tested on what components. You know what I mean?
Yeah, push
So,
sit-ups and
If you work strictly those things and you work on that, there's no chance for you to fail. Does that make sense? So just
Sure.
like muscle memory of anything, we can build those key components up. Now, is that holistic fitness? It is not, right? But you'll never fail that test.
if
you're
you're just
prepping
doing
for the
those
test.
3 things, yeah, you'll be able to complete those 3
So like
things all the
if
time.
this is like the whole like, can you do 15 push-ups? Well, if you can do 15 push-ups in an hour, that means you can do 100 push-ups within a day, right? Just because you can't do 100 push-ups all at once doesn't mean you can't do 100 push-ups in a day. So, and it's the accumulation of that like practice. They don't need to have every knowledge of fitness, nor do we need a whole lot of knowledge of any kind of certain aspect. If we know what we're going to get tested on, we can succeed in any fashion when we take those criteria of the test and we can see we can master them.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It makes sense,
That's a
but
good response.
but,
Yeah.
but speaking of holistic fitness, if you just train those three things, you're potentially creating problems for yourself, right?
Sure, but on the counter
Yeah,
side,
but yeah, of course.
do we view the Air Force PT test as a holistic fitness test?
No, probably not.
Then we're not asking them to be holistically fit.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Right.
That makes sense.
Okay.
And I
Sorry, I know
get-
that's a
no,
little
but I
controversial,
understand.
but-
I understand your yeah.
Speak your mind.
But I understand your comments at the beginning a little bit better now, where you said, we're kind of going in circles, we're not really where we should be technically.
So
Agreed.
Yeah.
taking a stab at it for a little bit, when I think about the Airmen, I think about these young people that have joined. When they join, they have a schedule built out for them to get PT done, and this goes to BMT, this goes to tech school. When they get to their first duty station, a lot of them lose that schedule. So now they have to do it on their own and figure out how to implement this in the time that I have. I think that's where we struggle with trying to help them build that into their schedule. It's not that they won't do it; they just don't know how to map out that 24 hours.
Right.
Like once I break mine down and I say, oh, well, I get up at 5 in the morning and I'm at the gym every single day. Not saying that they have to do that, right? But helping them figure out their lives because that's what we're doing. Um, Once we do that, I think they see that they can do it. For me, that's a big piece of when I was a flight chief in security forces. Like they always saw me in the gym. I don't go to the base gym, but I go to the base gym so they can see me.
Right.
So like I love that they see me in there. My airmen strive for that. I've let them work out with me. If you have questions, just creating that climate that if they don't understand something, like I'm not here to judge you. Let's make you better at
Right.
it. So I think helping them understand that this is not a judgment. If you do struggle with something, you can ask me, and I'm here to guide you to do that. Like we don't have to address it during the PT test. If that's not what you want to do, if you want to pull me to the side and we help prep for that, I'm all here for it.
What I recommend is getting with someone who is experienced and knowledgeable. Figure out a program, right? Sit down with someone, put down like come up with a 4-week program, just 4 weeks, right? Alternate with alternative workouts, meal planning. You have resources in front of you. And I think that's very important, and it will just help build that momentum. Like, okay, like I'm less nervous. I know what to do. I can be a little more independent in the gym. Um, and then next thing you know, like it's a routine,
Right.
it's a routine. But I know it's harder for a lot of airmen, especially in our career field, security forces. Man, they work 12, 14-hour shifts sometimes, and that's so difficult. So for them, like it's understandable. Who wants to work a 12, 14-hour shift and then go to the gym? Nobody wants to do that.
Shout out
No
to
one
our
really
maintainers,
wants
too.
to.
Yeah, and the
It's a
maintainers-
requirement.
and the
Sometimes it's just
maintainers,
life.
it's I totally understand. When I was on flight, and those 12-hour shifts kill you, and there was days where I just like I cannot go to the gym right now. Like I have to wake up in 8 hours. So maybe there is a way during the shift they can just, you know, give themselves some time, like where they're in the dub or wherever they may be in the training building.
But we just have to. I, I feel like a lot of times, and I don't maybe from your career field too. We have to reestablish that culture where I hate saying taking away their time.
Yeah.
But if you can incorporate the PT into your own schedule, I have to show you how to do it and not feel bad about it, right? PT doesn't have to, group PT especially, we don't have to be there for a long time. Give me 30 minutes to 45 minutes and
I'll sweat.
we get a good, we get a good workout in, we get our sweat, our hearts pumped, and you go home. I don't have to keep you there for forever, but I think that's the battle right now. People trying to figure out how do I take this person's time without me feeling bad about it or getting posted on the Airmen CL page.
So,
Right.
can I
Yeah, absolutely.
put a
Joe, please.
caveat in here?
Mhm.
So, like, I love the idea, right? The problem is oftentimes barrier of entry, right? So, like, when we're talking about new airmen, or even let's just say someone who's not so new, but they've not been in the game for a while,
Right.
getting someone to walk through the door is the hardest part,
Right.
And then you're like, well, I'll just build a 4-week plan. let's build it for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they won't do it. They've got no reason to do it because they're already comfortable.
Yeah.
Until it's too painful for it to not be changed, humans won't change.
Yeah.
So like unfortunately, I think the barrier of entry is like the biggest problem that we're running into, and that's where your point comes into like you have to show up to work.
Mm-hmm.
That's a prerequisite of your day. Congratulations. Now you're gonna stay a little later,
Your time is
or
mine.
yeah, exactly. Like I do think that that's one of the easiest ways to start bridging the gap again, because I already have that allotment of time. Now it's the Air Force's responsibility to use that time
Absolutely.
responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
And now that our leaders are moving towards, and not saying they haven't been supporting us, I don't want to communicate that, but it's in writing now that we do PT every single day. Now, however you choose to implement that in your organizations is up to you, but we have that backing that, okay, even if you complain about me taking 45 minutes of your time, it is what it is. We are abiding by Air Force standards now.
Right.
Right.
So I hope that everybody takes that and does something with it. I know I have been. I love my guaranteed PT time, even though I was doing it anyways, right? But it is nice to have that back. And then when you think about the other branches, if we're going to mimic PT test every day, they have that stuff built in. So let's mimic that process as well.
I
So,
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating how everybody has kind of like a different flavor of how they are approaching this, and I feel like you Tex are like very pragmatic about how it is.
I've seen things come and go for a little
Yep.
bit.
I'm not too attached, but that's okay. I think for me, I'm incentivized by what because I got injured and had to get a whole hip surgery in
Mhm.
order to get back into Air Force fitness.
And that's hard.
And the thought of like not being able to just do basic things and just being in so much pain, like I don't want to live through that scenario. So I have to exercise to make sure that my joints don't feel miserable just on a very basic level. And so I'm never going to give up my fitness because I don't want to feel that way ever again.
Mm.
And I also have kids, so I want to be able to stoop down and if they're playing on the floor, I want to be there with them. So
Exactly.
if if your job is not enough and you can't figure out a reason why you want to maintain standards, I feel like you just got to give yourself a reason.
I feel like people shouldn't be just now starting to implement fitness because of the fear of the PT standards. I feel like fitness, exercising should be part of your daily life. I think it's important. Like you're gonna overall feel good about yourself. You're gonna build that confidence. You're gonna live longer. You're gonna be healthier. Your mental health is going to be even better. I just think like the PT standard changes shouldn't just now be like, hey, you got to work out. I
Yeah,
feel like people
should be a wake up call.
exactly. I feel like people should just naturally want to feel good and be healthy.
Yeah. I think it shouldn't be terrifying. I think it should be like, ugh, now I have to do an extra thing. But it should be really low threat is what it should be.
Right.
And making sure that that's how you feel about your PT test whenever it's time to do one is that, that's a really low threat thing, but I can handle it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, just as the devil's advocate here, we're in
Oh,
a
sure.
sound box. We're all relatively fit in here. And as we've already pre-discussed, some of us don't struggle with our PT tests in that capacity. But for the people who do struggle, that extra mile and a half is going to be a hump,
Oh yeah.
right? That's going to take a little bit of extra mental space and a little bit of extra
Yeah.
gumption. So, like, it's not nothing.
Right. It's
So-
not nothing. It's about getting ourselves to not feeling so scared of it.
That's
Right.
fair.
And plus, the Air Force is actually giving um time to train.
100% it
You
is.
guys look at the new standards and what's going on, but January 1st to like March 1st, they're not doing any PFAs right now, so it's just a transition period. So they're giving people to that time to train and prepare.
I was saying, since we are talking about new PT standards, old one coming back is the waist measurement.
Mhm.
Just curious how you'll feel about that. Just kind of hanging out there. It's low hanging fruit.
I just hope that it's common sense to it. For this is another thing, right? For me, some people have big waist just based on their backgrounds.
Genetics.
Yep, some
Mhm.
genetics
Mhm.
of that.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be some mixed ins. If you're physically fit, if you can perform all of these things, then that shouldn't be a knock to you. So I'm just interested to see how that plays out
20
in
points.
this. Yeah, I don't think it's fair in those aspects because some stuff is uncontrollable.
I agree.
So we'll see.
Because they stopped doing that for a while, right? And then now they're
Yes, they did.
re-implementing that. Okay.
Yeah, the crazy part about it was the people who were extremely fit,
Yep.
and you could see they were fit, and their just build was
Yeah,
not.
they're just naturally built like
Mhm.
that, but they excel at their PT test every single time,
Yeah.
So they're fast, they're strong.
And then the other side of that, you could be 130 pounds soaking wet and get 20 points because you're small.
Yeah.
And not be fit at all. You're just
Yeah, I mean,
just
sure.
small.
You just, yeah.
And that's like not hating. You know what I mean? Not hating.
Yeah, not hating.
Just
For
letting you
sure.
know. Like me too. Free 20 points for me. You know what I mean? Like I could walk through the door, free 20 points. But at the same time, that has no indication of my fitness.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. I like the old school mentality
Yeah, me too.
here and there.
I think we should. I feel like we should be held at that standard as the Marines and the Army.
Understood.
Like, after all, we're still the military.
I just say, you know, with your last thought, sometimes we just have to dive a little deep. It's not just PT sometimes.
Right.
Yes.
And not to go off topic, but
Mhm.
okay, you're struggling with
Healthcare.
PT. Is PT the issue, or
That's
do
it.
I need to help you with a diet plan?
Mhm.
Right.
Like, how are
Yes.
you living in your household, in your dormitory? Because that might open up the issues as to why PT isn't working. So, going past physical fitness, I might get you to come do the 45-minute workout, but you're throwing it away when you go home.
Yep.
Yes.
So,
They dig
every
they
day.
dig
Yeah.
in the pizza box or whatever the
exactly.
case may
Yeah.
be.
So a lot of
15
times,
boxes stacked.
Oh man. No.
so it's a lot of, and just growing up in this Air Force, kind of understanding that everybody has a different circumstance. I try not to judge too harshly because I don't know that person's upbringing. Like, yes, I cherish fitness for my own value
Mhm.
reasons. Whereas this person might not, or they just have other stuff that they need to be taught, or you might need your hand held.
Yeah.
And now I find the perfect wingman for you that I
Exactly.
charge this airman to make sure that you're at PT every single day. Things of that sort. I had to do it when I was a senior airman. My first supervisor, shout out to him. He made me have a brother in the military. My brother was late. I was responsible for him. Before I left my dormitory, I had to make sure I grabbed him for every single thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's the traditional wingman concept
Yep.
of like, don't make me in trouble.
Yep.
Stop.
That was me. So
Yeah, no, foot stomping on that. Um, like I said earlier, like if you don't know, because I know a lot of people growing up, they didn't grow up in a household where, they ate healthy, they relied on fast food, whatever. So they weren't taught that. Like I said, like if you're serious and you want to be disciplined enough, get with someone who knows what they're doing. Get that help to meal plan. Go to the commissary, buy the good stuff. Leave the cookies, the chips, whatever, the ice cream on
No,
the shelves.
No, you can take those with.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie, I have my cheat
Motivation.
nights.
That's it.
I have
Say,
my cheat
you want to
nights,
run that lap? Get a
but
cookie.
I'm not in,
Facts, though.
I'm not
I
in
know.
goal. Yeah,
Work for
no.
I cut one time for a physique challenge, and my greatest reward was some gummy bears. That sounds crazy,
I
but
love
those
it.
gummy
That's
bears I'd
like
fight for.
okay. That is okay. That is okay.
I know the
Yeah.
struggle, and I love showing and being transparent. I professionally bodybuild.
Oh.
So when I prep for my shows and stuff, I love when I'm in that flight chief role or that leadership role, and they get to see me do it. They get to see me shrink down. They get to see me focus just eating my meal preps, and I don't push that on them. But I love the amount of questions that I get about it. How do you do this? How do you eat this every single day? And they're so
Dedication.
intrigued. Yep.
Mhm.
Pulls out your
How do you
name,
meal prep so much?
notebook.
Or when do you have time to do this as a master sergeant? And I have a second job at a gym here. How do you have time to do this and go to school and bodybuild and all of those things? And it's like, but they have to learn it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I see it. I see it being done. Maybe I can push myself a step further.
Right.
I know this is not important, but what weight are you competing at?
So right now, so Side note, I have two professional bodybuilding pro cards in WNBF and OCB. So right now I do open bodybuilding. For that, I just
Okay.
had a show in October.
Hmm.
I did two back to back. So one was in Minneapolis, and then 2 weeks after that, I qualified to go to a national championship in North Carolina. So
Nice.
fun times.
Everyone be
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
for the monster.
Yeah.
Tune in.
Yeah.
And it's and what I like about it is the influence. The same thing with me having a job at the off-base gym. Like a lot of my guys, they come into it and then they sign up just solely based on me working there and them working for me. And I love that. So it's like you have this access to me. Now, I'm Sergeant Dozier all the time. But now you get to see Nazavian and ask me the hard-hitting questions as far as in if you want to actually get fit. So
Right.
just 2 days ago, one of our guys from 5SFS, he came in the gym. He said, "Sir, do you know anybody here who coaches? I want to do a bodybuilding show." Absolutely. Let me sync you up with them. So
Right
That's
on.
cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really good. And again, reminder, you said it earlier, Tech Sergeant, not everybody has to be this crazy physical specimen,
No, not at all.
exactly.
but you can learn from those people.
Mhm.
You can learn from those people who are a little bit further down the road than you are, because we're all on the same road. We're all just trying to get to the end,
Yeah.
and don't stop moving.
Some people might take different paths, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
Mhm.
and that's okay. So, but yeah, speaking on diet, have a balanced diet, fruits, vegetables, carbohydrates. Carbohydrates, everyone. It's not terrible for you. It's not proteins. And most importantly, hydration.
So just curious, and in our day
Uh,
and society, do you think human beings have an issue with consuming carbohydrates at a low rate?
Overconsume.
Oh,
I mean, I'm curious
overconsumption
that you're.
is overconsumption of anything is not good for
I'm
you.
with you. I already see your face. Come on, bro.
Anything is not good for you.
Mhm.
But there's a misconception with carbohydrates, especially people who are trying to lose weight. Um, they're not bad for you, right? Especially if you're eating um the more natural stuff. So carbohydrates are good. I recommend eating that before an intense workout because you need um that to burn off of like the energy. It gives you energy, right?
So it depends on what your goals are,
Mhm.
right? So like
Guaranteed.
he before he goes for his bodybuilding competitions,
Hmm.
he is hard cutting. Not only is that, he's also dehydrating himself, right? Because he's
Oh,
got to
yeah.
look tight,
Mhm.
right? And how do you do that? You dehydrate yourself and your skin gets tighter, right? But like he can't consume carbohydrates at that time, right?
That's a
Because it
good
will
point.
swell
Yep.
him up.
I guess it
So
really
it
depends what your goals
defeats
are.
his goal. However, I've done 100-mile races. If I didn't have carbohydrates, I would probably not make it past
Mhm.
mile 20, right?
Exactly.
So like if my goal is to run an extended period of time, I need to keep those carbohydrates fueled in my body at all times. Same thing with salt. So like a lot of people will say like sodium. You're like, oh, you
Yep.
should not take so much sodium. There have been days where I've taken well over 2,000.
I have
Because
to.
don't
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
you want to replace the sodium that you lost, correct?
Not
Because when you sweat, that's
necessarily.
sodium. Is that right?
It is, yes,
Okay.
yes. So not necessarily am I trying to replace it. I'm actually trying to have a surplus,
Okay.
depending on what I'm trying to do. But this is
Yeah,
just
that's
a caveat.
it's just to get into the science and
Right.
for people who aren't really into stuff like that, it might be too deep in the weeds.
Right.
But I do want to say one more thing. Obviously, there's a lot more people in the gym. How are we balancing with, like, we met in the parking lot of going to the gym,
The parking lot. Yeah.
and you were like, "There's so many people here. This
We
is
had to
insane."
park in the overflow. I don't even know if that
The
was an
overflow to the overflow. I'm not sure that I
Yeah.
parked. There were people making spots that
I
I
don't think we were
don't think
in parking.
existed.
I think we made our own parking spot.
Yeah.
The
I
creative
think that's
solution.
what it was.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can still get the workout in. I do calisthenics most of the time,
Mhm.
so I don't need a bunch of space or equipment to do what I want to do. But if I'm trying to get in line with like unit PT, if I'm going to be there, you need the space so that your people can spread out and do the things
Right.
together.
Absolutely. So do you want to know what we used to do? We used to have gyms in every one of our squadrons.
Yeah.
I just feel the space is not big enough
No,
for
and we
that.
shifted away from it, right? And then we brought it all back and we got rid of it all, and we're gonna go back to it eventually too, if we're serious,
Yeah.
right? Because again, you're right, and we can't all have PT at the same time.
Mm.
But when's the best time to do things? At the start of the day or at the end of the day? Because that's when everyone's still there doing stuff and we're not in the middle of things. Stopping and be like, oh, guess what? We're going to do an extended lunch. Doesn't really work, right? So, like, when we had gyms inside our own work centers, we could do things like that. Or be like, listen, I've got 30 minutes till my next job. What should I be doing? And he's like, what do you mean? What should you do?
Yeah.
Go press.
Move some weight around. Yeah.
That's it. Like that. So like, we need to acclimate our environment, and environmental control is the key to almost any kind of success. So like, why does this podcast happen? Because it's easy for you to walk through that door and for us to sit down and we have it set up. If this took us 3 hours to do every time,
We
right?
wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it. So environmental control is key.
Yeah.
Well, I think everybody's brought up great points. Is there anything that anybody wanted to say before we start to wrap this thing up?
Did we talk enough about how to train?
How to
for-
train?
I know
Yeah.
we talked about diet, starting, but I don't think we necessarily got into how to train.
So what's your take on it?
What basically just what I wanted to mention, I don't want to go too crazy into it. It's just starting out, it's just the basics, right? I know a lot of people sometimes people get straight into it. They start it with high intense workouts. They don't properly prepare, like
That is a
warm up.
mistake.
They don't cool down.
You don't stretch afterwards.
No, a lot of people don't do that. They don't
Cheetahs
take the
don't stretch.
time to warm up properly. Then they do a crazy workout and then they just go home.
Yeah.
No cool down, nothing. They don't refuel their body. I'm like, and you wonder why you're gonna get injured or you're injured.
Yeah, I just
Right?
got off of an injury where I in September I pulled a muscle that connected from the back of my hamstring to my knee,
Ooh.
and every time I took a step, click, 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 I was pulling the
Oh.
muscle with every step. And it's because I wasn't properly strengthening,
Mhm.
like the adductor and
Mhm.
adduction machines that you can use for your legs, like squeezing your legs together, pushing your legs apart.
Right.
That's what I needed to be doing. I was neglecting those areas of my legs. And as a result, I created an injury for myself.
Yeah.
So you can't just, you have to train yourself. Like, yeah, you can just train the components, and you're right. If you can train the components and you can keep yourself moving on that path. But if you're neglecting the other areas of your body, you're not going to go very far. So you have to do everything.
Yeah. You got to I feel like if you're just doing push-ups, sit-ups, and running, you could only get so far with that. But if you do everything else, you do it properly, you do it well, you're going to increase your overall strength and your overall endurance and without getting injured. And I think that's where a lot of people they mess up. They just go at it, you know, without knowing very well of where to begin, you know.
So
Yeah.
I do agree that people oftentimes when they go to the gym, they start a little too hard.
Too crazy.
They their body's not acclimated to let's say the water, right?
Mhm.
So they're gonna injure their body and then they don't go again. Again,
Yeah.
like that barrier to entry. Again, if you only show up once or twice a week, but you don't injure yourself and you can stay consistent, that's far better than you showing up one time. So let's say you're going too hard and then you can only do once a week. And then after that, you're going to get hurt because you train too hard in one area. And it's kind of pointless at that point. You're not
Yeah.
doing any good.
Mhm.
And Master Sergeant, you're someone who is very physically fit and you train at a different level than most people. W- When people say they want to work out with you, do you tell them like, hey, maybe take it easy?
Always. So you work well.
I
You work
agree.
out to your comfort though.
Right.
So I always expect when anybody asks me or if I ask someone, they decline it typically until I make them comfortable enough to know that I'm not expecting you to do what I do. Like
Yeah.
you hold your own. I'm here to support you and I'll let you know how to support me as well. Like you don't have to be the most knowledgeable. Like let's collab and I promise you it'll feel good at the end of it. So that's typically me. And I'll go to their level as well. Like you lead the workout and show me. And we talk through things, we ease into it. If it's one of those where it's not my typical workout, I might separate my workout from the workout that I do with them just so I can still check it off with them and get them through what they need to and then do my own thing. But I never had the expectation that I have on myself.
Yeah. Now you don't have enough of an ego to say
No,
like,
not at all. And I've been in it long enough, going back to what you were saying, that I know I have to warm up. Like but going back to what I stated earlier, if you didn't play sports or you're not familiar with those things, you don't know the importance of that.
Right.
So when you see people go in and they just start going hard, you might want to teach them that. Because the first time you start warming up, I promise you, it feels way better.
Oh yeah, and then
Even for
stretching,
PT testing, like
stretching afterwards.
you do a warm up lap
Yeah.
before you run your 1.5 miles or 2 miles, it feels way better. So
Oh yeah, no, for
mhm.
sure. And then like also, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of running. I feel like we shouldn't have to be like, you have to run every day. No,
Don't run every day.
there's alternatives.
Don't.
There's
People say that.
alternatives,
We
right?
used to hunt our prey that way.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ran track and cross country, so we ran every day, and my knees are fried. Like,
Yeah,
my
exactly.
knees are fried. So especially for people who didn't really, run like that, there's alternatives. There's cycling, swimming. You have the ski rows, or the ski machine, you have the row machine. There's just so many different cardio workouts that you can do that will still help you build that endurance. Do I recommend at least running here and there?
Just try it a little bit.
Yes, it's like a slow, average, moderate pace, try to go for distance and longevity instead. Um, but yeah.
Side note, also make sure you're equipped for running.
Yeah.
Running shoes.
Correct shoes.
I see some of my Airmen and I'm like,
Running in
why are you
Converse. Hey, hold on. You talking about running in the Crocs?
I see people run in their boots.
yeah,
I'm
like
Okay.
that is very
Mhm.
important. Like
Yeah.
So the
you want a
people who are running
comfortable
their
run,
boots
you
are
want to
often
make
doing it
sure
for a
that you've
reason.
invested
They're
a shoe
asking
to run
they're
in.
asking for
So,
shin splints.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some people do rucks where they're wearing their boots,
Exactly,
they're in their
yeah.
uniform. But outside of that, if you want to make sure that your body is going to continue to do what it needs to do, shoving your feet in the wrong pair of shoes and then running in like I don't wear dress shoes when I go for a run. It's for a good reason.
Yep.
So let's think through. Do I have, and it gets cold in my night. Do I have all the proper
Yep.
equipment to run outside? Am I gonna get myself hurt?
Don't run outside.
Don't run. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
we
sure.
have
No,
the dome,
real-
we
real
have
talk.
the track in the gym.
Yeah, don't run outside. Your lungs can get frostbite just like any other part of your body. And if you are running outside at any temperature below 20 degrees, your lungs will get a bellow effect.
Unless you're David Goggins.
Nope.
Even David got it.
It's still gonna get him.
Yeah.
This increases like the risk of pneumonia.
That
Yeah.
is wild.
Not a recommendation.
Exactly,
That is not
yeah.
how to stake there.
David Goggins is a good example of someone who pushed so hard and is a freak. Is the freak that we talked about at the beginning.
We're here, he's here. Like
he's
he's a
just-
different level.
I think he's ignoring pain is what he's
Oh,
doing.
sure. Which
But-
sometimes is a smart thing, sometimes not.
Fine.
Yeah. And above all, I think if you find yourself in that situation where you're exercising and you're going at a pace that will get you a little bit more fit each day,
Mhm.
maintaining that momentum is much easier than going crazy in the gym
Absolutely.
Yeah.
or not going to the gym at all and trying to cram it all into the
Yeah.
last 2 weeks before
Brick
you
by brick. Brick by brick, like you will eventually get there, even if it's just doing something like little, not as much. At least you're doing something.
Well, I think we've talked every aspect of this that we could realistically talk about within an hour. So I want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate everyone's different aspects of what they brought to this conversation. And maybe you're out there and you're thinking, I can't do this PT test. I believe you can. So hey, we hope to see you out there in the gym. Just maybe not when I'm going. So that
Yeah, don't go at 3 o'clock. Don't go at 3:30.
And don't forget to tune into the next one. Thanks.